Thank you very much to our friends over at Game.press for providing a key for this game for review purposes. Hello, this is Tim at Wembembo on everything, back with another DLC, this time on the indie game Jump the Track. Jump the Track was developed by Seed by Seed. It's available on Steam only, and it launched on May 28th, 2025. So, at the time of this episode's release, it's probably about a week old. To read the synopsis very briefly, Jump the Track is an explosive comedy that blends visual novels with Pachinko. This is the tagline that hooked me in, but upon closer inspection, I actually noted this is closer to a Peggle-like as opposed to Pachinko. Now, this isn't a bad thing for me, I love Peggle, but not everyone knows what Peggle is. So just so we're clear, Pachinko involves the player dropping a ball into the top of a machine, it hits a number of pegs on the way down to change its course, and you get points depending on what section of the bottom area the ball lands in. Peggle, on the other hand, is a digital-only game and has the player drop the ball from the top of a screen with the goal of hitting either the most amount of pegs or certain pegs, with the pegs changing the ball's trajectory, allowing for rebound shots. And at the bottom of the screen is a basket that moves from left to right. If you get the ball into the basket, you get that ball back to take another shot. Now that we've cleared up the difference, let's get into the gameplay of Jump the Track. You play as Sam, a guy who is just trying to get by, picking up everyday jobs that he can to pay his rent and to support his mother, who's a local bus driver. Sam ends up getting some work with a local mob boss, Pierre de Bat, who has him doing very menial work, but where our story picks up is that Sam is at the laundromat, cleaning Pierre's daughter's teddy bear. Sam gets a call from his friend Axel, who is trying to coax him to the fun fair to have some fun, and Sam leaves the bear in the drive for too long, destroying it. Figuring that Pierre will kill him when he finds out, he figures he'd have one more night of fun and heads to the fair. While there's an announcement that the citywide Tombola's grand prize this year is a bear that is the exact same as the one that Sam had just destroyed. Naturally, the tombola requires tickets to be eligible to win. The more tickets you have, the higher probability. Sam now makes it his mission to pick up odd jobs to earn people's tickets instead of money throughout the night before the tombola is called. Sam, on his adventure throughout the night, meets a wide range of people offering different advice, perspectives, and guidance to help steer him down a good path. Everyone from a famous model to a psychic, and even the owner of a shady kebab shop, complete with a sentient 3D kebab printer. As mentioned earlier, this is a visual novel, but the twist here is that while you always have a default option to pick out of your available options in conversation, you can also unlock different dialogue options by hitting all the pegs of a certain colour. For example, a flirty response, or a lie, or a truth, or even the option to just stay silent. The people you meet along the way will allow you to modify your Peggle rounds, like having a friend that can cause the ball to split into 3 upon impact to cover more ground, or having someone who can slice through all the pegs in a set path without a rebound, guaranteeing you a hit on your targeted pegs. The game's got an absolutely gorgeous art direction. The character designs, while very non-conventional, have clearly had a good amount of thought and time put into them. And it's got some good moments with the comedy writing. Granted, it's not my typical brand of comedy, but that's absolutely a me thing. People will most likely get a kick out of the comedy writing in this. The Peggle element, too, is also pretty good on paper. Now, I consider myself to be pretty decent at Peggle games. I've been playing them for a number of years. My concern here is that the developers stand to lock out casual players who may not be good at these games from dialogue options that could help steer the story in a direction they may prefer to go. You could argue that this is the entire point of the game, and that Peggle is part of the core gameplay loop, but I would argue that it's only half. Let's go back to the synopsis of the game that I mentioned at the top of this coverage. Jump the Track is an explosive comedy that blends visual novel with Pachinko. There's 5 words in here that are pretty paramount to understand. Blends visual novel with Pachinko. If we're using Pachinko as a point of reference, which the game does in its synopsis, the ball drop and the peg hit mechanic are inherently random. And if we're leaning on the Peggle side of things, which the game absolutely does despite the synopsis, there are tons of hazards that the player needs to navigate when playing the Peggle sections of the game, and you could argue this is akin to something like locking a player out of dialogue options in something like Fallout or Baldur's Gate. But the difference here is that the player can constantly work towards improving their charisma or wisdom stats or whatever in those games. It's a numbers game. This is an action game. So for players that aren't good at action games, or arcade games for that matter, because Peggle kind of leans into that subgenre, this game punishes players for failing to deal with the obstacles that the game set out. In a visual novel, a genre that caters directly to a casual audience. Did I have fun with the game? Absolutely. It's a nice, short adventure that I think it took me only a couple of hours to do. It's got charming characters and Peggle, which I'm a sucker for. Do I recommend it? Yes, but buyer beware. At full price, Jump the Track, at least in the UK, is $8.99. Peggle Deluxe on Steam is $4.99. If you have any interest in this and have never played a game of Peggle before, I would suggest picking this up first to see if you even get on with one of the core aspects of this game. If you do, you've not only got a great game in Peggle, but you know that you'll also get on well with Jump the Track. If you don't, you've not spent as much money, and you'll know that this game isn't for you. I've been Tim, at WhenBembo on everything, and I'll see you next time.